Welcome to our Thursday night Zoom. My name is Denise Cowell and it is November 6th. And today we're going to be doing the Magic of Christmas project recipe. And we're going to be looking at the project playbook. So let's get started. So just to take a couple minutes to tell you what I do with the project playbook and the project recipe is I always go through the playbook and I'm started to mark on here what papers I'm using so that I know when it comes time to do the project recipe what papers I have left. And then can I change the project playbook to accommodate that. So you can see anything that I have is in green are actually one of the 7 papers that we're going to cut. And we're not going to do this live. I haven't completed this yet. And then the pages for the base. So basically, the only paper that was left over after going through all of that was this one with the holly. And so I'm going to use that for the project recipe. But when I went through and I tried to find another color, and I didn't change these to 2-page spreads, for project number 4, it uses a whole sheet of this green pines, and you really only need 2 inches. So I was going to weld. So if you want to take some notes, so I am going to use the green pines, but I'm going to make sure that I have 2 inches left over to weld together for project 3. Okay. And then everything else in here, there is some paper saving that you can do, like for project 4. It even says here that for this cranberry, you can gut it. If you gut this for project 4, it's this paper here for 9. You can move 9B over here to sheet 8. I was thinking if I ended up losing a tiny bit of 8C, not a problem. So when I cut mine, I'm going to move 9B over here to sheet 8. Then with this cranberry number 9, I can cut the frame for the last page for project 4, plus have this 8.5 by 8.5, plus have enough to get me these 2 pieces here. I should have enough for all of that, which then gives you an extra sheet of cranberry to create a second one for project 4. The other thing for project 4, if you look at piece, I think it's 6A, 6A is cutting the whole 11.5 by 11.5, putting here, and it's going underneath this gold piece. I would gut 6A also to cut it to the 11.5 by 11.5 and make a 1-inch frame. So that would, if I would have done it in advance, that would have also given me some scraps to use for my Christmas tree for the project recipe. But I think I didn't do that because I'm just looking at the opposite side. Yeah, this is why. Oh, I could. It was gold. So I ended up, instead of using this one, which I could still gut it, I have gold shimmer out to use on my tree. But you could use this if you had done the project guidebook first and did a little bit of paper saving on that, because that would give you a big piece there. Everything else here is looks pretty good. I was thinking actually to leave this one as a 1-page. This would be good as your beginning or ending of your Christmas book. And then this one, I think there's enough leftovers that you could probably make a 2nd page out of this to match it. Nothing else in here that stood out. There's punching a lot of squares. Again, you can save a lot of paper by moving all the squares over. It uses the Angel border maker punch. It uses the ornaments punch and the jingle bell. So it uses all 3 of those punches. So I just wanted to give you some tips. And then, so when I do the project recipe, I am going to be using most of this, but I will have enough left over. And I think what I'm going to do is use it, making sure, like I said, 2 inches for here. I'm going to cut those first. And then I think I'm going to also use it for my Christmas tree. So let's take a look at the rest of, let's take a look at the project recipe. And if you haven't looked through the embellishments or the borders of the stickers, man, this is vintage Christmas. This is kind of what I remember growing up with. It's amazing. I really like it. And every year I do Melissa's December documented, and so I've already been working on a whole nother set using this. So let's talk about the project recipe. And that's why I was saying that most of the project recipes aren't specific to a paper pack. Yes, they're always created with the paper, but you can do anything kind of with them, with any paper pack. But this month, with the magic of Christmas, and when we get to next, which I haven't posted yet, the gingerbread fun, it's very specific. Um, you could always duplicate in both of these. You can always duplicate the right to the left if you don't want to make that tree, if you want to use it for a different paper pack. The other thing that I did is I also created this one using the icicle punch. So how you could still make a tree, but not have it Christmas. And I just use, this is all cardstock, and this is white shimmer, and the rest is just cardstock. And I actually have one extra row in mine than over here. So if you want to make your tree bigger, you can do that. So just to show that you could use another paper pack with this. So what we're going to need, 2 pieces of white cardstock, bright white for the base. You're also going to need solid green, so dark green cardstock. You're going to need a designer paper. So that's where I said I'm going to use the pine cones and saving a 1.5 and 1/2 inch piece to use for the project playbook. And I'm also going to cut a 1/2 inch, whatever I have left, I'm going to cut in 1/2 inch strips to use for my tree. So designer paper number 3, and I personally, I don't like project recipes that use so little of a sheet of paper. I like using it all up. So I actually went and got a whole bunch of scraps. But for designer paper number 3, I am going to use the holly because that's what we're using here. And we did have a sheet of that left over from the project playbook. So I am going to use the holly. And then the bows are going to be used on the tree. And then, so that's designer paper number 3, sorry, designer paper number 3. Now designer paper number 4, we're going to see if I have enough of the pine cones. Actually Q, because the reverse of what they use here is brown. Just grab yourself a piece of hot fudge or some kind of brown cardstock that you have, or paper. This one's actually a paper. This is actually from Wonderless, because you're only going to need to punch or cut a 1 3/4 inch square. Right, and then basically here you only need an inch. So I'm going to try one of these, whether I use the gold or the cardstock. I don't want to cut into a full sheet of designer paper for number 4. And we're using enough of 5 and 3, and we know for 2 I'm going to use some, and cardstock, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't mind that. So I've tried to get some scraps. This is a good one to use scraps. Like I said with this one, this was all scraps that I had to create this tree. So we can do it with scraps. So that's being said, let's get started. And we're going to start with the green cardstock. We are going to use the ornament punch. So this is the new ornament punch that came out. That is the standalone punch. What I also have is the old ornament punch, that's the border maker, and I wanted to just show you the difference in the sizing. And this is the old one where it was all circles. This one we have other shapes, but when you look at the small ones here, they're almost the same size as what's here in the small one. So just if you have the old one, you can use that, or we can use the new one. So I'll use the new one, and the first thing we're going to do, find my project recipe, and we're going to cut 2 borders with the ornament punch. Like I said, I use the icicle punch. You can use either one. So we're going to cut 2 borders, and then we're not going to cut them down yet. Let's leave that cutting down until we see what we want to do and how big we want to make our tree. So we're just going to cut 2 borders. And line that up. Put it too far through. Okay, so there's one. There are some stars in here if you want to keep these little stars or the squigglies. I'm not good at using the, what comes out, as we call it, punch poop, which isn't what we should call it, but okay. I was also waiting for some ideas to come out on the blog using the magic of Christmas to see what's coming out there. Okay, that's it for our punch. And again, I'm not going to cut them yet. We will come back and cut them. So the rest of this sheet, all we need is a 3.5 by 12. So we need a 3.5 by 12 inch piece. And that will go on our right hand side. This rest is extra. That'll be good for anything, for another project, for mats. Okay, out of our designer paper, which is our pine cones, the back is the red. Neither one is directional. So what I'm going to do first is going to cut off that 1/2 inch piece and the 1 inch piece that I need for, and a 1.5 inch piece. It's a 1.5 and a half. Let me just check. So I'm doing that so that I have my pieces that I need for project 3. So I need 1.5 and 1. So there's my 1/2 inch piece, and then I need a 1.5. Easier to cut those now, and I'm going to put that with my project playbook. So now out of the rest of this sheet, we need 9 inches. And this paper is actually, it's 10 inches. So we're still going to have a 1/2 inch cut left over. So now I'm going to cut basically what it says for designer paper number 3. I am going to cut 2 1/2 inch sheets out of the designer paper number 2 also. So I'm going to cut 2 1/2 inch pieces. And we're not going to cut those to size yet. Let's just put those away. So now I'm left with my 9 inch piece. So I'm going to cut it in half at 4.5. So all I did was paper save, right? So what I did out of this 3 inch piece is I got my 1.5 and my 1/2 inch piece to put with my project playbook. I also got these 2 pieces from down here. For designer paper number 4, this paper 4, designer paper number 3. Maybe that's why it's kind of getting just confusing. So paper 4, the blue, I cut 2 1/2 inch strips that we're going to use for our tree. Now I'm going to cut at 4.5, and piece D is going to go across on the right hand side, and then this 4.5 inch piece, I'm going to rotate and cut it at 6 inches, and this will be 2 of our mats. Okay, and we'll put the mats aside. Okay, so hopefully that wasn't confusing. We need a 4.5 by 12, 2 4.5 by 6s, and then out of this piece left over, I got pieces O, N, and P, as well as pieces for the project playbook. So the last one that I need is number 3, designer paper number 2. Again, I'm using the holly. Now the bows have directions, and the bows are going to go on your tree. So I have the top of my paper on the left-hand side, so my bows are on the right direction on the tree. So the first thing that we're going to do is cut a 1/2 inch, and depending on, and that will go on your tree. That's G. Actually, G goes across here, and you can see here they've got them upside down. If it doesn't bother you, it's fine. So I'm going to go a 1/2 inch, and that will go on the right. And then we need 2 pieces. It depends, if the project recipe you have says a 1/2 inch by 12, it's actually 1.5 by 12. So update your copy to say H and I are supposed to be 1.5 by 12. That was a typo in the project recipe. So that's 2 of them at 1.5, and we'll be using the holly side, and another one at 1.5, and those will go on each side. of our paper. Now the last two that we need from here are 2 1/2-inch pieces, and that's going to be for our tree. So again, we won't cut these quite down yet. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, and then this is all extra, so you can see if you can use that in your project playbook. So the last thing that we need out of your scraps, and again, I still have scraps if I want to add extra colors to my trees, right? And so I'm going to put those aside in case I decide we need something extra. So out of a piece of scrap, brown cardstock, hot fudge, or a piece of brown paper, either with your square punch, or which mine was right here, or you can cut this at 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So my square punch is around. I was just using it. 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and that will be the trunk of our tree. Okay, other than cutting down our tree pieces, let's put together the right hand side, and then we're going to come back and cut our tree pieces. So what we're going to do, let's start with the holly, and that will go along the bottom. I'm just going to move this up a little bit. So let's put our holly along the bottom of the right and the left hand side. And that's going to go right at the bottom. And this one, it's kind of like we'll dry fit our tree, but I want to get all these pieces down so they don't go falling all over the place when we do that. So let's put both of those on. We just got back from Arizona last week, and I have all those pages ready to scrap, so I'm looking forward to starting that. I actually, for the Black Friday bundle, I ordered photos. Ordered enough photos to get an extra bundle for free. So those went pretty fast. The glacier with the penguins, man, I think that one sold out in 4 hours. I think they thought the Santa one was going to go a lot faster because that's the one they had a lot of, it seems. They don't order the same quantities of them all. Okay, the next piece we're going to put down is this piece C, and it says adhere H and I. We did that, followed by C, 1 inch from the inside edge. Sometimes I read the instructions. Let's put that down, so 1 inch in. And again, so this part, you know, the right hand side, you could just duplicate it. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to put D, and D, it says adhere piece C, D on top of C, 1/2 inch down. So let's put that one 1/2 inch down. And we'll get that 1/2 inch. Okay, and then the last thing we need is this red one and one of our mats. So what's supposed to happen is the mat will fit in here and touch to the bottom here. Actually, let me see this sticker. I think what, and this comes in right here. So the mat fits right between. Now this sticker, this is a sticker, this candy cane. So it says here, adhere piece G, which is this 1/4 inch down. So it's only supposed to be 1/4 inch. The reason why is it is leaving room to put that sticker if you want to, right? So this sticker will, this will move up, and then there'll be room for this sticker down there. So you kind of have some white space, and then depending if you want this sticker or not, or you could just move this down I'm going to leave that up to you how you want to do that. That would give you more white space here. Gives you a 1/2 of an inch here. Kind of matches to the 1/2 of inch we have up there. And then this will take 3.5 by 4 photos, or you could actually do a 3.5 by 5.5, 2 of those. So depending what you want. And this is a 5.5 by 4. So again, if you are not making the tree, you could just duplicate this page and make a second page. So what we need next is that brown piece that we cut. And again, I'm just going to attach this with repo because we may move it over. So I'm just going to put it down here. And actually I'm going to put it in, because it says to start piece G 4.5 inches in, 4.25 inches in. That's a lot. I think we were able to maybe put it, I'm going to put it at 3 to start with, because as you see with this one, it's probably more at 3 inches. I moved my tree over so I didn't have so much white space on this side and you could fit more photos. So let's start with the bottom one. And you are going to need repo. And let's go back and see. So our punch borders, they say we need 1 at 7.25 and 1 at 2 inches. That's out of our first one. So I'm just going to cut, I'm going to just cut the 7.25. I'm going to build it going up. So we need 7.25, and that's kind of like an ish. And before we start though, what they did, you can see the edges of all of these. They actually fussy cut them out. Okay, so they fussy cut them so that you can actually have like the whole ornament. So the first thing we're going to do is cut one end. So I'm going to just make it round. So now we're going to cut at 7.25. And what it should do is it's going to cut right between these two. So I'm not even going to use my trimmer on these ones. I'm actually going to fussy cut this one. So I have 2 good ornaments on each end. And this is going to be our bottom one. So we will just kind of dry fit it. Okay, so they have the red next, which is the red. We have 2 reds. I think it's the bows. Right, the bows and the hollies. So this one is going to be the longest one here is 6.5. So that's going to be the next one. So I'm going to cut that at 6.5. And this may, seem a little, we should have cut them all, but some of them you may want longer and then you don't have any extra paper. So this will be the next one. And then they have the pattern one. So I don't have the pattern. I'm actually using the holly, the leaves with the poinsettias on the back. So that is this designer paper 3 number 4. The longest one there is 6 inches. So I found that I was able to get more pieces out if I cut them differently than what they have. And again, you can just follow along the instructions. I'm just putting my pieces together so I have all my pieces together. Oh, where's my 6-inch piece? They should both be 6 inches. Okay, so the next would be my 6-inch piece. Okay, so if you wanted to attach these, it always seems like the bulbs are just on a little bit of an angle. Get your repo, and we can build this section by section. So I would put some repo on the back of my ornaments and attach it to the red. And now this is going to see how OCD you are and if you can go on an angle or not. So it was hard for me doing the other tree. And what I did here is I made the icicles be straight and the rest of my paper was on an angle. So you decide how much of an angle you want to be on. So now it's like, oh, I have this green, but maybe I want some of this gold in mine. So let's cut some 1/2-inch pieces. And this is where you can now be a little bit crafty and design your own tree with whatever papers you have. So I think I might need a little bit more color. So since this one was 6.5, And you need to offset them a little bit because we had, I'm going to cut this one at 6 1/4. So I have it a little longer than that green one. And let's see how this is actually going to look. And maybe I will just build this here. And then this green. And see, they kind of go back and forth. Okay, so the next one, the next longest one we need is a 5 1/2. So let's go back to our other one. Let's round these off. I lost my scissors. Oh, there they are. Let's round this edge off, and we need this one at 5 1/2. So it's going to be between these two ornaments. Cut that round, so we're going to have that one. My next red one, again, because we don't have them cut, which is my holly. The next longest one is 4 inches. So this is 4 inches, which will be, and see, I should have looked first because to me, that's a little short. We have a 6 1/2. I should have left that one. We do have an extra because to me that's a little short. I think I'm going to cut it at 5 inches, and we do have extra, so that's okay. I'm going to cut this at 5 since that was 5 1/2. Okay, this is where, you know, depending on how small you want to make the tree, how fast you want to make it go, and this one may be shorter because the mat is over top of it. So I made mine at how big? So I'll tell you how big I made mine. 5 inches. Okay, so we have this one, and we have a 5-inch piece. So my next one, gold, I'm going to go at 4. This is, let's see, I'm going to make it at, see, I'm not following instructions. You can follow instructions. I'm going to go, let me just do this. Can't even remember. 5, so let's go at 4 1/2. And I actually, on my other one, I kind of did them opposite. So when the red went this way, I now have the red going that way. And once you get these all put down with repo, they'll stick a little better. So we're going to go at 4 3/4, a little bit shorter. And this one will go this way. And then my next green, I'm going to do at 4 1/2. So I'm not even looking what their sizes are here. They have it at 4 3/4, so I'm going to do this one at 4 1/2 because I had that last one at 4 3/4. So your tree should be coming in. These are all my little pieces I have. My next piece of ornaments is supposed to be 3 1/2. If I cut it at 3 1/2, it's going to be this big. That looks okay. So I'm going to trim this up. See if I can trim this one. So 3 1/2 for the next ornament. So it'll always be between 2 ornaments. So since I have that extra color, I'm going to go 3 1/4 for the red. That was 3 1/2, and I'm going down because I have an extra color. I'm only going down 1/4 in size, and this one will go this way. So then I have my gold that I want to be 3 inches. Again, I'm going down 1/4 inch in each size. I guess I don't need this anymore. And then I have my green. So that was, I should write this down so I remember what size I did. 3. So we're going to go at 2 3/4. 2 3/4 with the green holly. 2 3/4. 2 3/4. Now that is the end of their tree. Actually, 1 2 3, one more. So the last one is 2 inches. So let me round this one up. So this is going to be 2 inches. It'll be between these. How many do they have? Yep, they have 3 ornaments on the top. So we have this one. So that one is 2 inches. So I want one that is 1 3/4, which is my red, not that red. 1 3/4. And then I have my extra color, my gold, I'm going to do at 1 1/2. And so I have an extra color in here than they have, which is why I changed the sizes up. And then my last one was 2, 1 1/2. So this one's going to be 1 1/4. What do I have left of this? How big is this one? Oh, look at that. This one will work good. And this one's going this way. And then what's at the very top is a red, which is this little tiny one that's a 1/2 by 1/2. So it's a 1/2 by 1/2 inch piece. And that's going to go up here. And then you can use the star from the stickers. So my tree is a little bit fuller than this one because I added that extra color. So what I did is I cut the ornaments exactly the size that they told me for A and B. But what I did for my 3 colors is I went down 1/4 of an inch in size for each one. If you want to do it exactly like they have it and just have the 2 colors, you can follow along because they exactly like they have it. But I kind of changed mine up. This does take a long time to attach. So use your repo, use your silicone mat. And like I said, I have this over at 3. When you start attaching these, just make sure you're always in the middle. Like this one should come over. You can kind of see. And then get as wonky as you want. What does Melissa Cato, what's that word she uses? And then the star at the top. And I think this is going to go good because I put the gold in there. So I think when I put my star on top, it'll go good. It's a lighter gold than that, but that'll be good. So finishing this up, because I'll let you play with your tree how you would like it. There's supposed to be 1 photo here. But the way that we've done this, you could actually fit another 4x4 photo down here. Catawampus, is that what is how you say it? And I think I would do like I had here, and I'm going to put all my Christmas balls going, my Christmas ornaments going straight, and then having the other ones up here. So when I did the other one, let me just show you. I'm going to build one. I'm just get rid of all these little pieces that are here. I'm going to build one and show you how I did it. Now, doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but I built these in sections. Okay, so I built each one of these in a section and put it down. So get your repo. This one's already partially attached. I would put repo on the back of this one underneath. And then when I turn it over, so that one's going up, I would bring this one in because this is like 1/4 of an inch shorter. So I would bring it in 1/8 of an inch and then put it on an angle. It's a little bit more crafty than just that included in our scrapbooking. Things has to go a little bit more in. So again, you can add as many or as least as you want. And then this is why I'm not going to do the whole thing together. And then I had, oh, it's supposed to be gold next. You probably saw that. That's okay. So this one is going to go this way. And then this one will go this way. Okay, so there would be our first piece, and then it would go in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they'll go in the middle. And then I would build my next one. So I get my next one out, and I would do the same thing. Just get repo, not level. So it goes red, gold, and green. And then I would put them at the opposite. So this one, the red was going up. So this one, I would have the red going this way. So I did them opposite. Kind of line it up so that it's coming in the same amount of direction. And then the next one, my gold this time was higher here, so it's going to be higher on this side. It's very hard for me to be kind of out this much. And not put them straight was a hard thing. And sometimes I have more space. And this way, if you got repo, you can actually pull them apart a little bit more also. So this one is going up. I got hair stuck in my tree. And then the last one there is the green. And the green is going to go up this way. So again, you're pulling it in a little bit each time. Actually, what actually works is your multi-purpose tool. And then if you want those overlapping a little bit, again, make sure that they're in the center. And then just keep going. I mean, I only have 2 more to build. What time is it? We've got, let me just finish building these 2. Let's do it. Let's just get these 2 done and then see how it's going to be. So this one goes up, this side goes up this time. I'm actually keeping my ornaments pretty straight. Then gold will go up on this side. I didn't make that red. I want this side up. Okay. A little too much space there. And then the green one will go this way. And then those actually came off, which is not good. Not enough repo. That was supposed to be a little bit shorter. Why is it not shorter? I guess it is down there. Okay. Use your multi-purpose tool. And then the last one. So I want to see your trees when you're all done. Post them on my VIP page for me to see. Mine will be there when I get it finished, which probably won't be until tomorrow. Wait, my bows are upside down. There. So this one, that's up, that's up. This is supposed to go this way. This go up higher. And then my gold. And then my green. Make sure I'm still on camera. Green. That goes up. This side should go up this way. And then my little tiny piece of red. And then my star. So now that you have repo on them, like this one has a lot more space, you can kind of play with them in sections now and then get them attached. So that is the Magic of Christmas project recipe. A little more complex than what we've been doing at some of them. I mean, they're not straight. I'm going to have to, once I attach them, play a little bit more, getting them how I want them to be. This one's a little bit consuming again. So if you want, you know, just one picture, you can see they put the Santa and the reindeer down here. See, this one's crooked. Yeah, I like it with the ornaments straight. But that top's a little wonky. I think it's too much of an angle. I'll fix that. Because I can see it on that camera. It looks a little out of, a little wonky, but that's fine. So one picture, if you want, you can fit more than one, or you could put a peekaboo pocket. You have room for 4 pictures, or you can change this to be a 3.5 by 5 with a smaller one. You can use the stickers if you want to add a border along here. You know, they have the candy canes. So that was fun. A lot more. Here's the other one that I did. But again, I'm going to move it to another page. And again, I did add the extra color like I did on this one also. I think I like it with the extra color. Kind of doesn't, this, maybe with the white space, maybe there's less white space. So let me know what you think. The project playbook, I don't know if I will get it completed right away, but if you complete that, I'd love to see it. Also, next week we are doing, like I said, the gingerbread fund. We'll do the same thing. I'll go through, I've already gone through and done the same thing, figuring out what I need for the project playbook. As well, then we will do the project recipe that I'll get up here. And again, this one we will be building a fun gingerbread house. So bring your hot chocolate and your gingerbread. Oh, look at that. I lost part of my tree. Don't do that. Next week for us to complete that. So thanks for joining me. Hope you had fun creating our Christmas tree, and thanks for joining me. Happy scrapping. See you all again soon. Bye for now.